So where does music fit into all this? Because obviously you're a very successful musician. Just reading your string of credits is ridiculous. So it would be easier to name a band that you haven't been in. But how did music help all of this to fuse together for you?
I think there's obviously an innate thing. I mean, I don't know how much of the genetic component is part of it, because obviously, that was an extraordinary moment.
Yeah, discover that actually it had come through genetically rather than through nurture. Yeah.
But also in that environment in particular, because my upbringing as an only adopted child with two parents who could barely communicate with each other. My father didn't speak French and my mum didn't speak Polish, so they communicated with this kind of screwed up vocabulary less English, and it was a pretty lonely thing. So
music. You said it was lonely and quite hostile.
Yeah, my dad had a whole anger thing, a resentment thing, a bitterness thing, which eventually, years later, I discovered, he was probably suffering from some kind of PTSD, because of the stories he told. The things he witnessed were absolutely hideous. But as a kid, music was an escape, both by listening to it, because it would take. I mean, I'm sure many kids have done this. Back in the 70s, I would before headphones seemed to exist, I would lie on the floor with a pillow under my head and both speakers each other, and just because I could disappear into that world. And I think some of the music I liked because it had that element. It had a fantasy element, or it had an atmosphere, or it took you somewhere else. And then as a natural successor to that was the desire to create it and produce it myself and express, all those innate feelings too, I suppose.
You talk too much. What's the matter with that child?